On a cold February morning in 1882, in a modest red brick house on Brighton Square in Dublin, a child was born who would one day change the way the world reads, writes, and even thinks about literature. His name was James Augustine Aloysius Joyce, and although nothing about his early life suggested global literary revolution, Joyce would grow into one of the most influential and controversial writers of the 20th century. Loved, hated, misunderstood, and endlessly debated, Joyce did not merely write stories. He tore open the inner workings of the human mind and placed them on the page, unapologetically messy, intimate, and alive. Joyce grew up in a large, struggling family. He was the eldest of 10 surviving children, born to John Stanislaus Joyce, a charismatic but financially irresponsible man, and Mary Jane Murray, a devout Catholic. Once relatively comfortable, the Joyce family steadily slipped into poverty as James's father lost job after job, largely due to his drinking and poor money management. As a result, Joyce's childhood was marked by constant moves, dwindling resources, and an early exposure to instability. Yet amid this chaos, Joyce's intellectual gifts became clear. He was an exceptional student, educated first at Jesuit schools and later at University College Dublin, where he immersed himself in languages, philosophy, and literature. Even as a young man, Joyce felt deeply conflicted about Ireland. He loved Dublin intensely, memorizing its streets, voices, and rhythms, but he also felt suffocated by what he saw as the country's paralyzing forces: nationalism, Catholicism, and cultural conservatism. Joyce believed Ireland was trapped by its past, unable to move forward, and he made a fateful decision early in life that would define his career. In 1904, at just 22 years old, he left Ireland, choosing self-imposed exile on the European continent. Except for brief visits, Joyce would never live in his homeland again. That same year, Joyce met Nora Barnacle, a young woman from Galway who would become his lifelong partner and eventually his wife. Their relationship was unconventional, passionate, and enduring. Nora believed in Joyce when few others did, supporting him emotionally and practically through decades of financial hardship, obscurity, and self-doubt. Together, they would live in cities such as Trieste, Zurich, and Paris, often barely scraping by as Joyce struggled to publish his work. Joyce's first major book, Dubliners, was published in 1914 after years of rejection and censorship battles. The collection of short stories portrays ordinary Dublin life with unflinching realism. There are no heroes, no grand victories, only moments of quiet despair, paralysis, and fleeting self-awareness. Joyce insisted that the stories be truthful, even when that truth made publishers uncomfortable. Dubliners introduced one of Joyce's central themes, the paralysis of modern life, especially in Ireland, where people seemed trapped by habit, fear, and social expectation. His next work, A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man, published in 1916, was more openly autobiographical. The novel follows Stephen Dedalus, a young intellectual struggling to define himself against the pressures of family, religion, and nation. Through Stephen, Joyce articulated his own artistic philosophy. The artist must stand apart, observing life with clarity and independence. The novel also marked a stylistic breakthrough. Joyce began experimenting with language, allowing the prose to evolve alongside the consciousness of the character, a technique that would become central to his later work. But it was Ulysses, published in 1922, that cemented Joyce's place in history. Set on a single day, June 16, 1904, in Dublin, the novel follows Leopold Bloom, an advertising canvasser, as he goes about his ordinary routines. On the surface, the plot is simple, yet beneath it lies a staggering literary experiment. Joyce structured the novel loosely around Homer's Odyssey, transforming an ancient epic into a modern urban journey. More radically, Joyce employed stream-of-consciousness narration, plunging readers directly into the unfiltered thoughts, memories, and sensations of his characters. Ulysses was immediately controversial. Its frank depictions of sexuality and bodily functions led to bans and obscenity trials, particularly in the United States and Britain. For years, the book could only be obtained illegally or through small presses. Yet among writers and intellectuals, Joyce was hailed as a genius. Ulysses challenged every assumption about what a novel could be, expanding the boundaries of language, structure, and subject matter. Today, it is widely regarded as one of the greatest novels ever written. Despite his growing reputation, Joyce's personal life remained difficult. He suffered from severe eye problems, undergoing more than 20 eye surgeries over his lifetime. At times, he was nearly blind, dictating his work to assistants or family members. Financial insecurity haunted him constantly, and he relied heavily on patrons and friends for support. His daughter, Lucia, a talented dancer, developed severe mental illness, which deeply affected Joyce and added emotional strain to an already fragile household. Joyce's final major work, Finnegan's Wake, published in 1939, pushed experimentation to its extreme. Written in a dense, dreamlike language filled with puns, multilingual wordplay, and invented words, the book baffled even Joyce's admirers. It abandoned conventional narrative almost entirely, aiming instead to replicate the logic of dreams and the cyclical nature of history. While Finnegan's Wake remains notoriously difficult, it stands as a testament to Joyce's relentless commitment to artistic exploration. When World War II erupted, Joyce and his family fled Paris for Zurich. His health deteriorated rapidly, and on January 13, 1941, James Joyce died following complications from surgery. He was 58 years old. At the time of his death, his work was still controversial, still debated, still far from universally accepted. Yet Joyce's legacy has only grown. His innovations reshaped modern literature, influencing writers from Virginia Woolf to William Faulkner, from Samuel Beckett to Salman Rushdie. He proved that the inner lives of ordinary people were worthy of epic treatment, that language itself could be stretched, broken, and reassembled to reflect the complexity of human thought. Dublin, the city he left behind, became immortal through his words, mapped so precisely that readers have long claimed the city could be rebuilt from his books alone. James Joyce once said that he wanted to give his readers so much work to do that they would be occupied for centuries. More than 80 years after his death, it seems he succeeded. His writing continues to challenge, frustrate, and inspire, reminding us that art does not exist to comfort, but to reveal.